Welcome to MindHyv, everyone. This is the weekly update. Glad you're here. Cue the intro. Hey, everybody, welcome to MindHyv update for the week. Glad you all could join us. This week, we have a special person with us. We've got Chad, our marketing guy, who does all of our video stuff and makes sure that we don't sound funny online. So welcome to the chat, Chad. Chad is the guy who makes all the magic happen for the marketing. And quite frankly, he's essentially a one-man show. I know you have a little bit of help when you need it, Chad, from parts of the team, but for the most part, you're handling the marketing piece. Do you want to give us a little bit of insight into like the thought process behind what you're doing and maybe actually give the users some ways in which to maybe help them with marketing efforts? Since we're a starting business, I mean, how about we give them some tips and tricks here?
No, I like that. I think one of the biggest things was marketing, and it took us a little bit to start finding our groove, but is to associate our voice and our personality to our brand. And that took us a little bit. Everybody, I think when they first starts out, they try to do something in a specific way. They want to be perfect. They want to be exactly what they see on a YouTube channel, on a TikTok channel, and they want to mimic that. And they forget their own personality. And I think that was one of our biggest issues at the beginning. And now we've really hit that groove of finding our personality. We are, tech guys that are building something, but like to have fun. And we don't have to be overly professional or, rigid with a certain system. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost is they, just want to follow looking at the camera and having that eye contact, and they forget to be just who they are. And that's exactly what we're trying to do now. And I really encourage people, as you hear so much, is, leave that comment. Let us know what we're doing right or wrong, what you like, what you don't like, because it helps us tailor that content for you. And that's the biggest thing. Without users, MindHyv isn't anything. So we need our users to kind of build this with us. So you're part of the team, whatever projects you're working on in HyvFlow, giving us those comments that help us, really help develop who we are and help us implement that into our overall marketing system. Even to right now, we're rebuilding the mindhive.com homepage to instead of having all these different homepages, which we'll still have, they'll redirect, but we're trying to incorporate everything into mindhive.com. And one of the biggest things we're working on right now is introducing our team, who we are. And you'll see in, the coming weeks, maybe a month, once that site releases, that those introductions, those little brief bios and quotes, they're not exactly what you see in corporate. I think my title is marketing and project Swiss Army knife or something like that. Those are the kind of things because that's who we are. We really want to kind of give that personality behind MindHyv and want you to know that we're just like you and we're building this for you, the user.
Love it. And so, in terms of like your workflow, what is it that you do to kind of help you? Because I know we give you an update and you get that content, including all of the B-roll footage, which most of it gets edited out. So what do you do to help with your workflow to get these videos edited to create shorts? Like what's some of the things that you've done? Like what's the thought process that you have when you make these?
So the biggest, thing we want to do is give everybody that's out there, first, we want to have that short content, that short form content to bring that update to the user that might not have the time to listen to a whole podcast or might not even know that our podcast exists. So we built these shorts to let you know about what HyvFlow is, what HyvSync is, what Matty and his team is doing, and what our overall team is doing to bring updates and kind of get us to the working system that we're at now. And that's kind of, and then it's bringing that, fun into it. And, now we're starting to think about the hooks that we're going to use and, engage users that are kind of scrolling through shorts or TikToks or wherever they're finding our content and making them listen. It's so important to get somebody to pay attention, in that first 2 to 3 seconds. If not, you lose them and they swipe away. So we're really testing so many things right now, and we're going to find what works. The a lot of people see shorts. I think we just had one that I thought was going to do really well, and it's got maybe 30 or 40 views where we were getting 500 to 1,000 views. You know, it's just finding what works and what the algorithm appreciates and what it likes, and maybe deleting a video, and people start seeing things that aren't working and they stop. And it always reminds me of that one meme of that guy digging for gold, and then one guy's turning around and walking away, and that other guy, he was only 2 or 3 kits away. And that's what marketing is to me, is it's that consistency and not turning away from something that is working just because you think it's not.
We really appreciate all the efforts you put into this, and especially since you're doing a lot of work to not make us look dumb. So that's good. Thank you,
That
Chad.
is a lot of work, to try to keep you guys looking professional it's not an easy task.
Well, God help us if you decide to stop doing that. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for being on here, Chad. Appreciate it. And Matt, we'll get on over to what you got going on.
Okay. This week in HyvFlow. All right. So the first things we did was we addressed the user view settings. So whereas before, the way you decided to choose your task sorting in the Kanban board, you would set your tasks up, you would navigate away from the page, you would navigate back, and then boom, it would be wiped. And if you logged in from a different computer, it would also be wiped, which meant you had to reset the filtering or the sorting every single time, which was a bit of a pain. So what we did is we now assigned it to the user. So if you decide to sort your tasks a certain way, then boom, you log in from a different device, it recognizes the user account, and it sets your tasks up the same way. Just saves you a bit of time in reorganizing your tasks and keeping your customizations assigned to you. Second, what we did, we fixed the account pictures. So now when you upload a picture to your profile or to your account, you get to crop the photo, resize it, make sure you don't look like a NASCAR fan, and it looks like a proper photo. For the Kanban task sorting, specifically what we did is we created a custom sorting. So now you can go in and you can select custom, and that way you can drag the tasks up and down in whatever order you prefer, as well as selecting these other options for sorting. So for me personally, if I want to talk about different tasks that have been accomplished over the past week, I organize them in what I think the person I'm talking to wants to hear about. And then I start off with the most important one and I work my way down instead of some of these others. We're refining comment replies. So inside tasks, we have comments here on the side that are updates. And you could basically provide comments on a task throughout so that you and the client can both discuss back and forth things you want to adjust on the task. And it appears in that kind of conversation window style. What we did is we were experimenting with the replies function, which I talked about last week. And basically we noticed that the reply function was a little bit janky in the sense that the replies were kind of nested under the original comment and you couldn't see at the bottom here. So we're working on refining that a little bit, where your replies should now populate at the bottom and call back up to the original comment. So we're trying to work on that. And then finally, what we sorted out were privacy for assignees. So whereas before, if you invited a user to your workspace, or sorry, it was any user that was on MindHyv, on HyvFlow in general, was able to access.
Wait, we need to pause.
Yeah.
I hate you. I'm sorry.
Dude.
Top left
Left.
of your Kanban board. I just wanted to see if it would work, and it worked. And I didn't think it would, and that just ruined your rant.
What did you do? What's the
Yeah,
top left?
Get this shit finished.
Damn it.
It worked.
And that, folks, is how it updates in real time.
It works.
Yay. It's live.
There we go. Sorry. Love you. Bye.
Okay. So whereas before, anytime a user signed up for HyvFlow, they had access, or at least view access to every single task that was out there. Obviously, we didn't want that. So we managed to refine it. Now users can only see tasks that are within, that they've been in the workspaces that they've been assigned to. What we're going to do is we're going to continue refining that further to the point where you can add people to portfolios, you can add people to projects, you can even add people to milestones. And if you're not in those, if you have not been added to those, then you can't see those. Or you can add viewership settings where you can allow people to see all these tasks that you've assigned, but they're not able to make actual edits to it. So it'll be great for information sharing. That's it for HyvFlow. Before I move on to Sync, Drew, did you have any questions or comments?
No, looks like it's going well, man. I know we've been doing a lot of work on kind of the nitpicky stuff for this. So core functionality is 100% there. So that's great. But obviously, this is kind of some of the things that we run into as we use the platform ourselves. So everybody who's watching this, if you could please, it's free. Go use our platform. And then on the bottom left of the screen there, you'll see some feedback buttons. You can go ahead and just click that and give us some feedback for what you find on the application. Again, we're trying to build this so that you have the best application possible. And again, it's free. So please go out there and help us out with that.
Here's a screen grab of feedback.mindhive.com so people can see what it looks like.
Very nice.
But yeah, this past week, we also resolved the mobile onboarding issue that we had where people weren't able to log in. Technically, we resolved it. I've been assured that it's been resolved, but I haven't yet tested it. So it says completed in the feedback, but my guy hasn't got around to testing it yet. But at some point he will. And when he does, I will brief it, present it. Brief it is such a military term. Invaded every aspect of my personality.
Yep.
For HyvSync, we don't have a lot for HyvSync. So right now our developer's been focused on back-end optimization over the entire year. So we're building an SDKs. So I'm doing some digging on that right now, doing some fact finding. I'm going to talk to our lead developer, Gio, there, and figure out first off, how viable it is, and second, how accurate that assessment is. Any questions on Hives before I move on?
No questions on HyvSync. I think we've talked about this already, about what it's supposed to be doing for everybody. So just want to keep foot stomping. We are really trying to make sure that this is an effective platform. And I know it doesn't look like, just from the screen that's up right now, I know that doesn't look like a whole heck of a lot that's being built on. Trust me, we have massive amounts of features that we are beginning to develop and implement onto the platform. And we're really shooting for the beta to be out on the 18th. We have also taken a look at our development processes for this because we wanted to be able to speed it up. So we don't want you guys to go in here and build some random thing that doesn't work very well, and it also doesn't scale well, and it doesn't integrate with the rest of the ecosystem well. So we are working very diligently to make sure it's built in a way that helps you. Other than that, Matty, thanks for the update. What else you got?
Right now with Hive Connect, so we actually have Hive Connect up and running. I'm able to chat point to point right now with other individuals.
Do not click on our chat.
We gotta click on our chat. It's a work in progress, but the idea is that the important thing I want to focus on is the fact that the idea is that it's supposed to be integrated into sync. So the overall concept of MindHyv is that all these applications, these disparate, important thing is that all these disparate applications are supposed to be working seamlessly together. The whole idea behind this ecosystem is that all of these applications work seamlessly together. So an example of that, and it doesn't work just yet, but an example of that will be, in this case, on HyvSync, down in the bottom right corner here, you see a little chat icon, and that'll be, you click that and you're able to, similar to Facebook, similar to Instagram, you're able to open it up and you'll see your chats that you've had. They won't necessarily be related to the tasks, but it's more of just a point-to-point chat feature or group chat feature that you'll be able to discuss ongoing projects or ongoing initiatives. So, but the idea is that this is all one application. I've just been calling it HyvSync, but when we talk about HyvSync, we specifically mean the profile, but it's technically the same application.
Yeah, because HyvSync will be like this profile that can go into your own website, right? That, like, I can make my website and send it to Drew as a referral or my resume for a project, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then when you go to the dashboard, that's your MindHyv home.
Got it. Yeah. I'm
That's
tracking.
where you can navigate to the other ones here. But anyways, that's the way that's fleshed out. But I'll show this so you have an artifact to use during public.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, that's boom. There it is. MindHyv.com. It exists. Questions or comments?
All right. No, man, no questions. Looking pretty good. I like it. So for the future stuff we've got coming down the pike over the next couple weeks, what do we got, Matt?
All right. So for HyvFlow, we're still working on the ability to move tasks across portfolios and projects. That's obviously there's a lot of back architecture that's going to have to be changed to enable that, including the fact that milestones are currently separated out into statuses. So when you drag a task from, let's say a milestone has a customized set of statuses, you drag that task and you move it into a different project, portfolio, or milestone with a different set of statuses, you're going to lose your status that's associated with that. So we're trying to build that functionality in right now. There's going to be some kind of warning that pops up that says, hey, you're about to lose the status assigned to this task. Do you want to continue? You say yes, and I'll move, and you'll be able to move it in. The idea is making it a drag and drop-esque style feature for the HyvFlow tasks dashboard. Okay, for HyvFlow specifically, HyvFlow real quick. With HyvFlow specifically, you've got a whole bunch of tasks that are assigned to a whole bunch of different people. Me as a user, sometimes I just want to be able to see what I have assigned to myself. Wouldn't it be great if there was a page, a dashboard on HyvFlow where I could see all the tasks that were associated with the different projects, portfolios, milestones that were assigned to me? That's what I've given to the developers right now, and that's what they're working on. So hopefully in the next week, we have something, some kind of product that we can show to you guys and hand it over for quality assurance. And next up, what we're working on this upcoming week, and I'll display it here. There's this one recurring bug that I just can't get rid of. It disappears for a week or so at a time. Then we make some tweaks and then it just resurfaces like a cockroach that it is. I will display it here. Essentially, when you click add a new task within the Kanban board view on HyvFlow, the assignees always pop up they're overlaid on top of this mini pop-up. So for whatever reason, every time we make a tweak to it, that happens. I've got my developer working on it right now, trying to fix that issue. But that has been the semi-bane of my existence. This is now the third time that we've made a tweak to the HyvFlow application, and it's resurfaced. So one day we'll get this shit figured out. Damn. And then the next thing we're working on is list view. So we've got the task sorting within the Kanban board view. Now we're working on it within the list view. So list view, for those of you who are unfamiliar, it's the Kanban board, but some individuals out there like to use a list view. They find it more tailored to their taste. We're trying to build this portfolio. We're trying to build this entire application to the point where anybody can use it in the way they prefer to use it. And list view is one of those industry standards that people like to use when using project management software. So list view is the next big focus, including task sorting, including adding columns in here where you can sort your tasks per column. So that's the next big thing coming up. The next series of things that are coming up with Flow, hopefully over the next week.
No questions, Matty. I have no questions other than why are you such a disappointment to me? Okay. No questions, Matt. All right. No, Matt, appreciate it. Thanks. No questions on that. So what do we got going on for for HyvSync and for Connect? What are we working on?
So right now for HyvSync, so as of this moment, the release date is still, the launch is still planned for the 18th of April, which is about 2 weeks from the time of recording. So that deadline's looming on the horizon. So now that we figured out some of our backend infrastructure, we're going to be delving into the actual UI, the user experience development a little bit more. The biggest thing, obviously, is going to be interconnectivity between the ecosystem. So generating widgets from other applications that could be hosted on the HyvSync or the MindHyv profile page, overall profile page, and the overall dashboard. So what I mentioned earlier about all tasks that are assigned to you, you want to be able to see that on your personal dashboard. I haven't talked about it too much yet. I did in the last episode, but we're going to be collecting as many metrics as possible and displaying that on the dashboard as well. And you'll be able to select which metrics you want to be able to see. So interconnectivity with the ecosystem, stealing portions of the other applications to build widgets, which could be hosted on that dashboard or could be hosted on other applications throughout the entire ecosystem. Next up is HyvSync profile onboarding refinement. So we've been working our way through account onboarding. That one is pretty bulletproof and ready to go now. The next step is building out your HyvSync profile and deciding what that looks like. So projects that you've done in the past, what your username is, what education, what experience you have. Be able to upload your skills, be able to upload your experience, be able to build out your HyvSync profile and to be able to display like a website to the rest of the World Wide Web. You'll be able to build out your resume of the future. So that's all part and parcel of personalizing your profile. Drew said it before. We want you to be able to choose your own adventure. One thing we've been working on that's a little more nitty gritty is mandatory fields. Right now I go in, I add a project, I call it my project, and I want to hit save project. All these fields pop up that you have to fill out. I don't think some users are going to be in the state where they're ready to upload or describe all those fields. So I'm trying to limit the number of mandatory fields. I think it'll allow users to onboard faster and get a semi-functional platform. Then they can go back in later and actually build out the rest of their profile. So that's something I'm working on. Less mandatory fields. Good God, please. And then finally, it's not going to happen the next week. Later on down the road, we're going to be using, our plan is to use AI or developed AI agents where people can use different AI agents to make suggestions. All right. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. AI integration is going to be key. One of the key values that we offer to users. So again, we've kind of visioned it from the beginning where we integrate AI into our applications, and we're going to continue to build that out. That's all I've got for Sync. Connect, nothing yet significant for Connect until we finish pulling the widgets that we want into HyvSync. I've got a few updates on the overall ecosystem if you're curious.
Hit us with it.
Thanks, Drew.
Yeah. No, let's talk about some of the updates for the overall ecosystem and what you got for that.
So one of the big things, we want a standardized kind of a user experience across all the applications. We don't want this to feel like you're using several different applications at once. You're not. You're using one ecosystem. So one of the things we're working on right now is standardizing the sidebar across all the platforms where you can navigate to the different applications from the main sidebar, and you can select support, apply for help. You can go and you can change your account settings across the platform. We're also going to integrate workspaces. So workspaces is a organization method of all your tasks. Workspace is an overall organization method for all your tasks, your profile, your Hive blocks, your Hive Connect, and that it'll be located on the sidebar, so you can go down and select which workspace you're in. Another thing we noticed for feedback specifically is that when users went to submit feedback for HyvFlow, they would log into HyvFlow, they would notice something, they would click the feedback button. They would click the feedback button, feedback.mindhive.com, and then they would be shifted over to our MindHyv. It would be shifted over to our MindHyv site on a feature-based backbone, and they would have to create a whole new account on FeatureBase. And I had the sense that would discourage feedback because a user is already pissed off with the platform. Maybe not pissed off, but a user is already slightly frustrated by the platform. They navigate to the feedback site. I need to create a whole new account in order to provide feedback for the site. That's it. I'm out. So what we're trying to do is linking MindHyv accounts to FeatureBase so that users don't have to create that separate FeatureBase account in order to provide feedback. We're trying to streamline that feedback process because I've said it once and I'll say it 1,000 times. Feedback from you guys is the most important thing that we can use in order to develop an application for you. Other than that, fewer clicks, more customization. That's my priorities. And that's my priorities on this.
Okay. Awesome. I appreciate it, Matt. Thank you for all the hard work this week. You guys have done fantastic, and looking forward to the things coming up. Again, Matt's hit on it a couple times, actually several times. I have too. Please, feedback is absolutely crucial for us. We take all of that absolutely seriously, and it really does help develop this platform in a way that suits your needs. So with this ecosystem, we're really trying to target the freelancer, entrepreneur, new business, like that kind of individual who really needs something that helps them get up off the ground and get their dream rolling. So whatever we can do to help you guys out, please give us that feedback and let us know. Otherwise, please like and subscribe the video if this has been something that's interested you. If not, then also like and subscribe, and then leave a nasty comment below, and we'll maybe get back to it. But thank you for everything, Matt and Chad. It was awesome having you on this week's podcast.
Awesome. I had an awesome time listening to the updates. I'm looking forward to seeing the ecosystem overall grow. I'm really pleased with, the idea that we had a year ago and to see where we're at now. It's amazing watching the team get everything, put into place. And now we actually have ones and zeros on the page that are coming to fruition. So it's awesome.
Yeah, we're moving along, and we're glad you guys are with us. So again, like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week on the next update. Thanks, and I guess Chad, make the graphic-y thingy do the thingy at the end. Thanks.
I can't
See you
do
guys
that
next week.
without Matt doing the da-da-da-da thing.
Wait, hold on. I forget what you changed the music, the outro music sometimes. I think we should come
Just
up
do
with,
one of them, and we'll be good.
yeah, okay.
Do you guys see what I have to deal with?
Yeah, try to make us not sound dumb. It's perfect.